Welcome to the Garden Report. After Game 7, the Celtics continue on to the Eastern Conference Finals. They beat the Washington Wizards 115 to 105. A really incredible game. We're going to break down the game here for you in part 1. We'll talk about what happened with the Stars in Game 7 in part 2. And then we're going to do a third part of this show to preview the conference finals and talk about the draft lottery, which comes up Tuesday night. It's an incredible 24 hours.
Rarely do you have one video where you're talking about the Eastern Conference Finals and a potential first number one.
Yeah, that's a really
That's
good
literally
point.
never happened ever before in the history of YouTube.
Rare.
That's right. So first, let's talk about probably the greatest player in the history of the NBA, Kelly Olynyk. It was
For
pretty
real.
I think he beat out Bill Russell tonight. He had an incredible game, 26 points, 14 in the fourth quarter. I asked him if he's ever going to not wear the man bun again, and he said, that's a great question. Thought about it, and then he said, time will tell. But tonight, time told the story in which Kelly Olynyk was a star of the game. Kelly Olynyk podium game. It was incredible, Nick.
I'll say Kelly Oubre gave Kelly Olynyk the biggest assist in Game 3 because it riled him up. I mean, he's been good since, and tonight, Kelly Olynyk was the star. He was the unsung hero and one of the keys, the big keys. The bench was amazing, Jimmy.
A lot of people think Kelly's a nice guy because he's from Canada. Showed everybody tonight, not a nice guy.
No,
bad man, especially in that fourth quarter.
Bad hombre.
Tommy Heinsohn got a lot of flack for comparing Kelly Olynyk to Dirk Nowitzki.
Yeah.
People said he was wrong. He is wrong. Kelly Olynyk is better than Dirk.
Oh, and about 18,000 people chanting might have agreed with you
Kelly,
tonight.
Has Dirk ever got chants in the TD Garden?
Never at
Kelly
TD
Olynyk
Garden.
got them tonight. And all kidding aside, though, I mean, this guy was unconscious in the fourth quarter.
For real.
14 points out of his 26 playoff career high, and he was that guy that needed to step up because they weren't going to let Isaiah Thomas do it, from start to finish. Isaiah got hot. Don't get me wrong; he had 29 points, but there were points in that fourth quarter where they were sealing him off, and Kelly Olynyk, he was there. He was there, whether it was from the three-point line or he had a nice little couple of nice little moves down low.
He looked like Kevin McHale a little bit on a couple of those up and unders. I mean, I think I tweeted that out.
So
was that
Bill Russell, Dirk, Kevin McHale?
Wow?
Wait,
Kelly
hold on.
Olynyk has just been canonized.
Let's be clear, though. Those moves were very McHale-esque. He was using reverse finger rolls out of a post-up. They were very similar moves to what McHale would do. So one embellishment, which is actually pretty reasonable. Continue, please.
Yeah, I mean, all of the bench players really chipped in tonight, and I think even though Isaiah had a big night scoring, it allows him to rest a little bit and not be as dominant as he's needed to be in the past. Marcus Smart was amazing. Kelly Olynyk. They said in the post-game presser, Marcus doing everything you don't see in the box score. That's Marcus Smart.
Marcus does what Marcus does, as Kelly Olynyk put it. What I really loved was, and this was what I was asking about in the pressers, was the moment where the game turned, which was when Markieff Morris subbed out at the end of the third quarter, and the Wizards were deep in that bench. It was Wallen Beal, and then Bojan Bogdanovic, Jan Mahimi, and Jason Smith, and it was a total disaster. The Celtics went on, I believe it was a 13-2 run, I believe, right away off of that. The Wizards were able to reset at a certain point, but the Celtics got a comfortable lead. Kelly was crucial in that run. They were spreading out the floor to an absurd degree. Stevens told me that they were trying to run what are called horns actions, where you have the bigs on the free throw line and the shooters in the corners with the ball at the top. They would send out the bigs to set a pick as far out as possible, and then you would get Smith and Mahimi all the way out of there. At that point, it's basically a 3-on-2 game, and all the bigs are already out, so it's 3-on-2 with the guards there. Celtics just tore them apart with that one. They were swinging the ball around. Really, really good Celtics ball movement, the kind of stuff we were seeing against regular season defenses that's hard to pull off in the playoffs. I mean, that was when we really saw the team at their best. It's amazing that they had their bench on the floor, where the bench had 5 points in Game 6 and then 45 points tonight, while the Wizards coincidentally had 5 points tonight off the bench.
29-0 in the second half. Celtics bench to
pretty good.
Wizards bench. And quick shout out Jaylen Brown, the rookie, who in this very building back in June was drafted to some boos. We heard a lot of boos that night.
I think some of them are coming from Jimmy Toscano, if I'm not mistaken.
No. I was a Jaylen Brown guy through and through. Play the tapes. I think it was me, you, and Kevin stood there, and we said Jaylen Brown was a good pick. We liked that pick.
You did call for him this whole series.
Absolutely.
You said it the entire series.
Because I think he can add a lot on both ends of the court.
The poise is what's
into this
impressive.
Came into this game early on, drained that three, set the tone for himself, gave him a little confidence. But that rebound, was it the third quarter or the fourth?
Third quarter, the booty bounce.
Yeah.
From the booty, from the ground. He said after the game, a few of us were talking to him after the game, he said he thinks he got pulled down by Gortat. It went uncalled. The ball still ended up his way, and the message before the game was no excuses. Get there, get out there, get the ball, do what you got to do. That's what he did, and he got that rebound, outlet pass. I mean, big minutes for a guy who's, you know, doesn't look like a rookie out there at times. There's still the occasional rookie mistake, but he's calm, cool, and collected out there, and they're going to need him in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Absolutely. He played well against LeBron, I think, very early on in the season. LeBron praised Jaylen Brown.
Second game, the one in Cleveland, yeah.
LeBron praised Jaylen, and again, it was good to see Jaylen tonight not making boneheaded turnovers. He had great poise for a rookie, and couldn't be happier for the kid. I mean, he's worked hard, and he shows up. He's here.
Jaylen Brown played 20 minutes in Game 7 against Otto Porter a lot of the time and had 0 turnovers.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
That is incredible. It's incredible. And there were a couple of plays where he almost had turnovers, but he actually drew fouls. He only got to the line twice, but he did draw, I think, at least 2 or 3 fouls there. He had pretty much his most perfect game as a professional. And just quickly on the booty bounce, where we were sitting up in the halo above the plate, it literally looked like he used the power of his tuchus to propel himself off the ground. I didn't even see him push off with his hands, so I really thought it was the squats really coming into play there. Those glutes were tight tonight. And I mean,
the wherewithal to get that ball out of there too.
That was great. But the big thing is that Stevens has been searching, trying to find his rotation, and it looks like he's finally settled on one. It's the starters with Amir starting.
We'll see how it changes, though.
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown, Terry Rozier, Marcus Smart, Kelly Olynyk. They can run with the 5-man rotation. It's really an 8-man rotation because Amir only plays for a couple minutes here or there. Yeah. They're going to need that interior presence. Stevens said before the game, you know, screw it. Save it for part 3. I'm getting carried away here. You better tune in all the way to part 3 to hear our assessment of the Cavs series. So quickly before we go, Marcus Smart being Marcus Smart. We kind of talked about it. Those flying rebounds. But the run that really got them out in this game started with the Marcus Smart 3-pointer. He had, I think, was it 2 3-pointers tonight? He went 2 for 2 from downtown. Had his most efficient shooting night I can remember him having at 4 for 7. God forbid. But it was the best Marcus Smart performance in the playoffs.
He needed it, and also it was nice to see him hit 2 threes, and you didn't have to worry about the next 6 that he's going to lunge up because he had good shot selection tonight. It was a really ideal Marcus Smart night. It's what you want from him.
One of those threes where you're looking at your buddy if you're
going, oh no,
saying no, and then he hits it, you're like, yes. So I mean, you're right, Jared. That really did kind of propel things for the Celtics, fire them up.
The other thing before we wrap this part too is easy buckets. We've not seen that a lot for the Celtics at all in this playoff. They got easy buckets tonight, especially in that fourth quarter. I think 58-40 in the paint. So the Celtics dominated the paint, and I don't think they dominated fast break points. So, yeah, Celtics need easy buckets against LeBron and the Cavs. We'll talk about that coming up in part 2 or 3.
Oh, we're going to part 3 because part 2, which will be coming up right next, is talking about Isaiah Thomas, Al Horford, Bradley Beal, John Wall. We're covering the Stars. It was a star-studded playoff series. We're going to cover them. Before we go here, we got to talk to you about ZipRecruiter because we all know that only bosses watch the Garden Report. You got to be a boss to watch this show. And if you're a boss, that means you got to hire people, and that's why you're going to go and use ZipRecruiter. You're going to go to ZipRecruiter.com/sportsfan, all one word because it's a URL dummy. You're going to go there, and you're going to sign up for free using our code ZipRecruiter.com/sportsfan, and you're going to be using ZipRecruiter, the best place to hire people in today's day and age, posting your job to hundreds and thousands of job boards out there to find the best possible candidate for you. ZipRecruiter.com/sportsfans. We'll be right back on the Garden Report on CLNS Media Network and Celtics Blog.